Good morning, Prairie Star Panthers. We are at Prairie Star Middle School, and we put together, Mr. Braden and I put together a short video just to give you a little welcome, a little intro, and to maybe talk about a few things that are going to be different this year as you come in the door to start the school year. But bottom line, what's most important for you guys to remember is we are thrilled and excited and anxious to welcome you back to school for the 2020-2021 school year. And whether you're virtual or in person, or if those of you are in person, if we're hybrid or distance learning, it doesn't matter. We're going to take care of you. We're going to have the best school year we can make of it. And bottom line is we are just ready to get started. So sit back and relax, and Mr. Braden and I will hopefully on one take get some things explained to you guys on what the school year is going to look like. Okay, so we are out in front of the school, and we're going to talk just a little bit about arrival. Now, the first thing I want to mention about arrival to school, and we'll talk about bus riders separately here in just a moment, but arrival to school, we're going to ask that we stagger this. Parents, we're going to need your help with this, where we have staggered arrivals at 7:30, 7:35, and 7:40 to help ease the congestion here at the start of the building, and more specific details about what grade levels when will be coming out in the near future. But what will happen is no one is entering the building before 7:30 a.m. We don't have places for students to congregate our population. We just have too many kids. We can't socially distance everybody as they come into the building. If you recall, in the mornings when your car pulled up, you just get out at whatever time, 7:05, 7:10, 7:30, some of you may be closer to 7:41, and you'd head in the building, and depending on what time it was, you might have gone to the Commons or the gym to wait, and then when the bell rang at 7:33, you went to your first class. It's going to be different this year. When the bell rings, I'm sorry, there won't be a bell. When you get out of your car at 7:30 or 7:35, depending on the staggered time, you're going to go straight to your first hour class. So there won't be any congregating in the Commons or the gym. We have to save that space for our bus riders, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. So Mr. Braden's in his family vehicle here, so watch this. We're gonna it's time for us to let students into the building. Nobody's going in yet, but then here's the time signal. Mr. Rembold's waving his hand for the first group. Out comes Mr. Braden. He's ready to start his day. Bye, Mom, he says. Oh, what did he forget? Yes, he's getting his mask. You know we gotta have a mask. So Mr. Braden's got his bag. Whoops, he left his bag at home, but we'll get that another time. He is going to head in the building, and he is going straight to his first hour class. Here we are on the south side of the building, and for those of you who are Prairie Star veterans, you recognize this is where the buses drop off. If you're a new sixth grader, this is where the buses will drop off. And while we don't have a school bus here as a prop, you can imagine that the bus rolls in. Now, buses, regardless of what time they arrive at school, students, you will stay on those buses until 7:20. Now, obviously, if they arrive after 7:20, you'll get off when the bus arrives. But 7:20 is the earliest that a bus rider can enter the building. So here's Mr. Braden again, and thank goodness he's found his backpack. So let's imagine he has gotten off his bus, and he's going to walk in the doors. And this is just for bus riders. If you're a car rider or a walker, you're waiting till 7:30. He's going to walk in these doors, and he is going to head, depending on his grade level, he's an 8th grader. He is going to head to the gym. If he's a 6th or 7th grader, he's going to head to the Commons. And again, notice he's got his mask on. He's walked in the building, so his mask is on. And then once in the Commons or the gym, he is going to wait there, socially distanced from your peers, until that 7:30 bell rings, and then you will head straight to your first hour class. So I want to emphasize, if you're a walker or a car rider, you are not in the building before 7:30. We need the 7:20 to 7:30 window for bus riders to be in the building, because their buses need to leave and run their next routes for the elementary school. But we need you as bus riders to socially distance in those two spaces. We don't have enough space to bring all of the car riders and walkers into the building at that same time. So that's how it'll be for bus riders. All right, so the 7:30 bell has rung. Bus riders are on the move to their first hour class. If you're a car rider, you're slowly getting out of your car and walking in the building. And here we are in the 6th grade pod. And you notice Mr. Braden, not only does he have his mask on, but he's got his backpack on, and he's passing the lockers. We are not going to use lockers this year, at least to start the year. There may be a time where we can use those, but we're going to avoid using lockers to start the year, just to eliminate the common touching of the combos, and to be honest, to thin out the crowds a little bit. So students, you won't get to decorate your lockers to start the year. I know a lot of you were maybe excited about that, and we're really sorry that that's not going to be the case to start the year. But as we get closer to winter months and we have coats and more items coming in the building, we'll get back to using lockers in some fashion. But to start the year, plan on coming to school with your book bag and your mask, and go straight to your first hour class when we start each day. So here's Mr. Braden coming to his first hour class, and you'll notice again, mask on, backpack with him. We're borrowing Miss Gobble's classroom. Well, good morning, Mr. Braden. Welcome to first hour. Notice one thing that's going to happen here. We're going to get some hand sanitizer going. There'll be a temperature check at this station, and exactly what that process looks like we'll get finalized, but teachers will be taking temperatures as students come to their first hours right away. Come on in, Mr. Braden. So a temperature check would have taken place. He's going to go to his assigned seat, and notice he is going right there. Now, clearly the other chairs will be set down, but he's going to keep his bag right there at his desk. That's his assigned spot. His cohort will be with him at that table, and we'll be ready to start the day. One thing that he's not doing is moving around the room and talking to, it's not that he can't talk to other kids, but keeping a social distance from those kids that are not in your cohort will be important. All right, and great job, Mr. Braden. Have a great first hour. So let's take a look inside a classroom. All right, so here we are in an 8th grade classroom, and you look around and you see, man, well, clearly it's not ready for the first day, but we show you this so that you can understand that teachers are really working to be creative on their use of space. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody's desks are all gonna be piled right here in the middle. That's not it at all. But what you might have seen in the pre-COVID school setting is walking in the door and there's this aisle back to the teacher desk, and all this space up here was really just for teacher stuff, or maybe space to go to the board or something else. And then desks and tables and things were typically just in this area here. Well, now teachers are going to look to, maybe we can use the perimeter of the room a little bit better, or maybe the teacher space is smaller and we start to access and move some desks and chairs, tables and chairs in this case, up to a space like this. So when you walk into classrooms, it won't look like this, I promise, but this is what teachers are working on, is how can they maximize the space in class to keep as much distance between students as possible and still provide a learning environment that works. So taking a lot of things into consideration. Every classroom setup is probably going to be a little bit different, whether they have tables and chairs or desks, and the space of the room. Some rooms are clearly bigger than others. So when you walk in, just be prepared that things might feel a little different than ordinary desks in rows or tables and chairs in rows, unless that's the best way to help support the social distancing idea. So you'll see it, it'll look a little different probably in each classroom, but that's okay. Here we are in the cafeteria, also known as the Commons, and you can see we've done some spacing of tables for our lunch setup. Now there's no chairs there, and some of the tables aren't fully down yet, but we've spread those tables out about 8 feet, and we're gonna have students in smaller groups at those tables, no bigger than 4 per table. That keeps you spread out about 3 feet or so apart while you're eating lunch. Your table mates are going to be assigned based on the cohort group that you are in from the class, either before or after lunch. So we won't have open seating in lunch to start with. That's part of our regulations, is making sure we know who's sitting with who. So be prepared for that, but you can see that in-person lunch, we've got things spread out. We even have tables up that hallway a little bit as well. So we'll make sure we keep the tables apart and keep you guys in small groups of 4 at your tables so you can socially distance while you eat. Another thing that's going to be a little bit different, and here we have the Panther Cafe, which I have been told has 5-star reviews on Google. But in the scanning station, I have these turned around the wrong way, but you'll notice these little black QR code, barcode scanner items. The way this will work at lunch is every student's going to have a lanyard. You'll be given this to start the year. And with that will be a little barcode ID card badge deal that will hang from your lanyard, whether you have it around your neck or in your pocket. I think you can probably manage that. But the point with this is you'll take that barcode and you'll hold it up here to that scanner so it can be read. And now you're not, and you guys know what this looks like, you're not punching in your key code, your student ID number on a keypad that everybody else is touching after you and vice versa. So this is hands-free scanning, so your lunch account gets debited. Another thing that you'll notice, and you'll see a familiar face here, are our water fountains, whether it's here in the Commons or in the library hallway or out by the gym lobby. There are going to be trash bags on the water fountains themselves, but the bottle filler will be available. So notice how you fill up your bottle. Just like that, it's magic. And you can have a water bottle with you during the day, and that's how you'll get your water. But the water fountains will be bagged up. So those are a couple of things to look for when we start lunch. All right, now we're coming to you from outside of the 6th grade pod. So here's the circle drive, and here's the kind of the front of the school down by the 6th grade area. And the reason I'm showing this is we want to talk just briefly about the idea of mask breaks. Now, one component of the schedule that we haven't talked about that we'll share more details with as we get closer to the start of school is we're going to utilize a block schedule for our core classes. So you'll have half of your core classes one day and the other half of your core classes the other day. You'll still have electives every day. So we've got the schedule worked out, so that'll be the case, and that cuts down on the number of passing periods and the number of transitions where you're passing through the hallways together as groups. But the point of showing you this space today is during those core classes that are blocks of time, they're going to be about 85 minutes long. And so we're going to ask teachers, we have asked teachers, and they're 100% on board with the idea of, assuming the weather cooperates and the temperature is appropriate, the idea of mask breaks. So it's a gorgeous day in Kansas today. We'd love to have your class come sit outside in the shade where maybe you can spread out, pull that mask down, take a break from that, and still read your literature or work on your science project or spend some time on your math or your social studies. So core classes will be longer. You'll have 2 of them a day, and then the other 2 the other day. But the idea of having some break in between there to step outside, enjoy the great weather, and take a break from your mask is going to be something that we're going to encourage teachers to do. All right, and here we are in our library. And for those of you who are new to Prairie Star, this is our library media space, and it's an awesome space. For those of you who are veterans returning 6th and 7th grader, or returning 7th and 8th graders now, you recognize this space. Usually it's full of students, classes, and lots of different activities going on. That will feel a little bit different to start the year. The library is not going to be open to just any individual student to come in. We're going to save it for classroom spaces where they can do some social distancing activities, still with masks on, but the library will still be a place we want kids to be. It'll just feel a little bit different to start the year. I do want to point out, look at all of these books that were turned in over the summer. So they're here. The library staff just isn't back yet to inventory those, but what a cool sight to see. Some summer reading, or maybe in the spring, last spring, but the idea there that your face isn't in a screen. You've been reading books, so great job with that, Panthers. And I'm going to pan around here, and we're going to walk back this way. And this is for the 6th graders. Our new 6th graders, as you come into the building to start your middle school career, just want you to, well, first of all, what a great little sign right there. Never give up. We're going to make it, guys. We are going to get through this, and we will make this the best school year we can. But I want to point out in there, and it's hard to see, and I could walk in there, I guess, if you wanted to get an up-close look, but there are the Chromebooks for 6th graders. So we have those sorted and ready to go, and we'll pull up the garage door and have these tables here ready to go when it's time to hand those out to 6th graders on 6th grade orientation morning on September 8th, your first half day of school. All right, here we are in the main office, and we're going to talk a little bit about dismissal. And we're going to have a staggered dismissal this year, so what you'll hear on the PA at the end of the day. All right, good afternoon, Prairie Star Panthers. It is time for our staggered dismissal. The first group to be dismissed today will be the bus rider. So if you're a bus rider, get out of your classroom, grab your materials. Remember, you don't need to stop at a locker, and make your way out to the buses. Then we would pause a little bit, not talking on the PA, and we'll switch to our walkers. If you're a walking student, this is your dismissal call, and it's time for you to make your way home. Have a great day. We'll see you back here on, well, hopefully tomorrow or the next day if we're on a hybrid schedule. And then you'd hear me say that it's time for our car riders. And at that point, car riders, this is your dismissal time, and you're gonna head to the front circle drive and have a wonderful afternoon. We'll see you back here tomorrow. And then Mr. Rimble would hang up the phone. There goes Mr. Braden, he's out to his car. Here's an important thing to remember, guys. At dismissal in previous school years, you'd come out here and wait for your car to pick you up, and you'd stand together with your friends in clumps and talk. You are going to need to socially distance. Keep yourself spread out from your friends. Doesn't mean you can't talk. We want you to socialize and engage, but it's important to know that you can't be standing as close as you used to. And as you're waiting for your ride, they'll come by and you jump in and off they go. All right, Panthers. Well, I hope that virtual tour of your school and a little bit of explanation of some of the changes that you could expect to see when you come in. Where's the camera? There it is. When you come in for in-person school, I hope that puts your mind at ease a little bit. You'll have an idea of what to expect. And I want to make sure that all of you, whether you're all virtual or in-person and whatever variation of in-person might look like, that the most important thing is, guys, that we're a school and we're a community and we're a family, and we're going to take care of each other, and we're going to have a great year. We're going to make it great despite any challenges or obstacles we have to overcome, because that's what we do. And I have no doubt that the teachers will be ready to work and support and care for you guys, and I know you guys are going to be ready to finish the summer that will never end and get school started again and get those brains cranked back up, and it's going to be an awesome year. And let's see if I can pull this off one-handed because I'm holding the camera. And don't forget, here we go. Okay, don't forget to wear your mask. Be safe, Panthers. See you soon.